Hello all, welcome to the video. My name is TepicFan. Today we're going to be talking about how Pokemon uses nostalgia and how it kind of predicts sets, and how I'm also going to be talking about investment side of things a little bit, um, and how Pokemon's how a lot of the sets that we see right now. I mean, first off, all sealed product goes up, but kind of maybe a little bit of a reason why every sealed product goes up. An example of this, I think it's Emerging Powers. Terrible set. The top chase cards are $15. It's like 2 full arts. That's the chase cards of the set. That's it. And then it's like hollows, I think, maybe. Anyway, that set's ridiculous. But boxes are still worth a lot. They're worth a ton. In the background, by the way, I have a black and white Lugia EX Team Plasma tin. This was the first tin I ever opened, so it has a little bit of a sentimental value to me. I thought if I didn't, I wanted something fun on screen, kind of, while I'm going in MS Paint, explaining this a little bit. But anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna go into some kind of talk about nostalgia a little bit. I'm big into nostalgia. It's something that's always kind of fascinated me. Something I feel strongly. I've written like papers for school on it and stuff. Super just interesting thing to me. So we're going to start by making kind of the timeline of Pokemon. Also, apologies, this is for basic ideas. It's not like that great. So we have Gen 1 here. And we have all the 90s kids, this was their generation, base set came out, that was what they were into. There's a reason why, Pikachu, Charizard, these are very big things, but there's a reason why Mew and Mewtwo are very popular legendaries, and stuff along those lines. And anyway, Gen 1 though, very influential. I'm gonna skip over a lot because we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do 3 eras that I kind of know. I guess I don't know Gen 1. I didn't live it. I was literally born a few years after it, but we're going to kind of put a vague middle here, and this is going to be I'm going to just say black and white slash XY. And then we're going to do something here, and this is going to be Scarlet and Violet, pretty much. I'll actually move Scarlet and Violet back a little bit so that we can kind of, I'll do things a little bit more past it. So Gen 1, they really got into the game. Or into Pokemon cards, collecting, whatever. They opened base set, they opened fossil, they opened jungle, these were kind of their sets at that time. And the Gen 1 Pokemon come back all the time. I mean, this is just kind of known. There's so many Charizard cards. Every few sets, they have a Charizard card. They have a Charizard set, practically, every generation also. I mean, we had Flashfire, we had Burning Shadows, we had Darkness Ablaze, we had Obsidian Flames. These just kind of exist. So we're going from Gen 1. They kind of have little things that pop up all the time. I'm going to say Gen 1 is red for the purpose of this. So I'm going to use an example of this, though, which is going to be evolutions, and then we're going to go with 151. Those are going to be our 2 examples. Gen 1 nostalgia is played on a lot with a lot of things, and it's not just bringing back a Pokemon. It's putting focus on what Pokemon knows people like. And there's an interesting thing happening, which I'll explain in a second. So Gen 1's red. We're going to have right here, we're going to say is evolutions, and then right here, we're going to say is 151. So Gen 1 kind of has had... They had their original what they like, and then they had something here, and then they also had something here. These are just some big sets as examples. Sets that are so they're playing towards Gen 1 so much. Evolutions was printed a ton, and it also, I don't know if was it at an unpopular time I don't know. It was printed a ton. It was everywhere. So I think that that's at long term though. I mean, Evolutions is such a cool. It's a cool set to open for people. It's a novelty because it has all the base set cards and stuff. I'm gonna drink some water. And then 151, you have a set that's literally built off of having all 151 original Pokemon in it from Gen 1. Great set, and that set's clearly done very well. It really is the star of early in Scarlet and Violet to me. I think it's going to be that, and it's going to be Paldea evolved a little bit. But I think 151, like long term, it's going to be like, oh, remember the 151 days? That was fun. Anyway, now here's what's interesting, and we're going to say this is kind of their starting point is here. Switch to blue now. We got black and white. Or XY. I'm going to kind of, I mean, it gets a little bit more vague, but their starting point is here, you know? And we're starting to see things now that are playing to the nostalgia of black and white, of XY. We got, right here we have Black Bolt, White Flare. So we have one over here. And then just after that, we're going to have the Mega Evolution sets, which I don't think are quite as explicitly, like, of this era, but it's very, like, XY feeling. So we're going to put that there as well. And obviously, like, those aren't out yet. I mean, Black Bolt, White Flare isn't out. I mean, the Japanese version is, but English isn't out yet. But you kind of have these sets, right? So you have these over here. And we're noticing, you know, this has started coming back, you know, and it's not going back as far. And Pokemon doesn't need to go back as far to get to the nostalgia. They don't need to go to Gen 1. Gen 1 isn't the only place that nostalgia can be found. And I'm in this group of the black and white and XY kind of group. I have so much nostalgia for that time of Pokemon. That was when I was a kid. That was when I was really into it, you know? I mean, Genesect and Tepig, obviously Tepig's my favorite Pokemon, but like Genesect's probably my second favorite. Like these are really, this is like a good era, you know? And I mean, this Lugiatin's kind of an example of it. Like, this is what I grew up with. Lugia's Gen 4, not Gen 5, but I think. But that's besides the point. The point is that, like, that tin, and that's what I kind of grew up with. So we have that. We have Gen 1. That kind of gets remade. And then now we're having Black and White XY era getting remade. And my greater point here is essentially that you should not discredit right now Scarlet and Violet because it's the new stuff. So what do I mean by this? Let's think of some cards in Scarlet and Violet that are very strange, maybe. They're kind of boring. I think, like, some of the, like, Paradox... Is that what they're called? Paradox Pokemon? Like, you know, you have, like, your chase cards from some of the early Scarlet and Violet sets that are, like, pretty mediocre in many ways. I'm trying to think of a good example. Let's say, like, how do you say it? You know what I'm talking about. The grass starter from Scarlet and Violet. Like, this is a card or a Pokemon that's gonna kind of be really nostalgic in the future to a lot of people. They're gonna have grown up with it. They're kids right now, but when they grow up and they have adult money, like kind of the people in the Black and White XY era are having, they're gonna want to open their old Scarlet and Violet stuff. You know, I mean, look at and you look at early in Scarlet and Violet, and it's so much modern. You know, it's very like, this is like kind of the new wave of Pokemon. And I think they really strongly did that in a way that I don't know if they did. I think they did in Sun and Moon also, but like Sun and Moon, probably Sword and Shield. I don't know as well. Which they kind of tend to do this, where the beginning of a generation, it's very, oh, this is like an introduction to it. Here's base set. This is going to have a ton of Pokemon from this generation. And then you kind of go, and the further you get into it, it's like, okay, you know, now we're going to start having, like, there's a set with Rayquaza a lot of the time. There's some evolution stuff. And, like, this is what we're seeing. Like, I think there's going to be a Mega Rayquaza set in the Mega Evolution kind of line that happens this fall. We're gonna have a mega, or we have prismatic evolutions, of course. Like, they kind of go to the fan favorite Pokemon. But I think what my point is that Scarlet and Violet, like, it's gonna do this at some point, and we don't know where it's going, but it's gonna be like remade a little bit, and like they're gonna play on the nostalgia of it. I mean, Pokemon's huge right now, and I know a lot of people think like prices are up because it's a valued product right now. It's not just because of scalpers. Scalpers obviously probably make it go up a bit. When I say scalper, I don't just mean people buying sealed product. I mean I mean people going to the store, buying everything and then flipping it for however much they can get like the same day. I think that's pretty shitty. But I think people overuse the word scalper, and anyway, I don't need to go there. But coming back to it though, I think there's a lot of kids that are getting into Pokemon right now. Clearly it's popular, clearly it's a big thing. Even if there's a ton of adults that are into it also, I mean, that doesn't like lessen the fact that kids are going to get into it at the same time, you know, like that's a big thing to think about. There's a lot of people that are like 9, 10, 11, 12, you know, they're getting into it right now, and they're going to feel immense nostalgia for right now, in a way that I felt it for Black and White, and in a way that like 90s kids felt it for Gen 1. And I think my point is that some of these early Scarlet and Violet sets, and this is long term, like Paradox Rift, like Base, like Paldea Evolved, especially the cards that haven't done as well, not the Magikarp, but maybe like a Ting Lu or something like that. I think that's in that set. Those I think will do well in the future, because once kids, once they grow up a little bit and they're able to buy some of these old cards, try to get some of the old sealed product, it's going to make it higher in demand. And I think people are going to feel nostalgic about like, oh, remember Scarlet and Violet, you know, remember opening up Paradox Rift, like that was fun. Like XY Base and Black and White, like Legendary Treasures and Dragons Exalted, like these sets I think of so much, and like Flashfire, like these sets I think of so much as like my childhood in many ways, in Pokemon specifically. But these are like the sets I grew up with. And if there's sets coming out similar to that now, like Black Bolt, White Flare, like the Mega Evolution sets, I want them. I want them so much more than I'd ever want something like Surging Sparks or Stellar Crown. Because Stellar Crown, it's like, what am I going to open out of there? The Terrapagos, really cool card, you know, but it's not like super familiar to me. It looks cool, don't get me wrong, but it's like, okay, like Terrapagos, cool. Terrapagos, I don't know how you say it. Okay, you know, it's not like the most exciting thing in the world. But I don't think that Genesect or Kyurem or Reshiram or Zekrom were the most exciting Pokemon, or Xerneas or Yveltal. I don't know if these were the most exciting Pokemon to Gen 1 kids, to people that grew up with this. But they were to me, and now they're able to play off of my nostalgia and make Black Bolt, White Flare and make Mega Evolution sets. Because this stuff is so missed. So that's pretty much my point. That's what I have to say here in this video. Every set's going to be popular eventually, because kind of early Scarlet and Violet was to build up Scarlet and Violet as an era separate from the rest of Pokemon, and now that it's kind of coming to a close, they're going to go into things that are a little bit more familiar to the community, that'll feel much more like general Pokemon. Black Bolt, White Flare is going to feel very nostalgic to people that grew up with Black and White. And, you know, 151 already was like that for Gen 1. You had Destined Rivals with Team Rocket. Journey Together is kind of its own thing. I mean, it had the trainer car, like the trainers having Pokemon, like that concept, and I think Journey Together is underrated, but I think that these other sets are going to do well. That's my main point, okay? I think that Paradox Rift, and I think Twilight Masquerade and Base Set, like eventually these will be the nostalgic sets, you know? I think this could also be true with like Sun and Moon in many ways, you know, like Base Set in the early Sun and Moon boxes. Like there's some people probably probably before COVID, because a lot of those came out in like 2017, 2018, 2019. There's some people that were into it then, I'm sure, that they're going to be like, oh, oh, I like this. Like, this is so cool. So, yeah, that's what I have to say today. Nothing too crazy. I just wanted to chat about kind of nostalgia and how we're in this cycle and how I don't think you should undervalue these new sets because of the Pokemon in them not being exciting to you. Because they'll be exciting to kids right now who this is their first time opening Pokemon cards. Give it 10 years once they're 20 instead of 10, and they'll be they'll be so excited to get like a Scarlet and Violet Pokemon back. They'll be like, "Oh my god, new Miraidon card. Like, let's go, dude. That's so cool." Oh, remember the terraforms of Pokemon? Like, anyway, these things that define the era that we might see as like boring or something that it's like, ah, I don't want that. I think they will become more than that, and they'll become exciting. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope you enjoyed looking at this Lugia tin and me scribbling away in Paint.net. Not Paint.net, MS Paint. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.